Hello, Noob Watchmakers. Thank you for joining. Today, my name is June, and today we are going to open this eBay box from Japan and service a Seiko Lord-Matic automatic watch. I paid about 37 euros for the watch and 20 euros plus tax. So around like 70 euros for this one. Which was an amazing deal considering this is actually considered a medium to high tier Seiko series. So in it on the eBay description it says it doesn't run and the quick set is okay. So let's dive in and inspect the watch. Now I am turning the crown, which does not wind the mainspring like other Seiko watches. So I have tried to shake it a little bit, but the watch doesn't run at all. And I'll have to find out. It says that the watch has to be accessed through the glass, front glass. So I have to figure out how to open this bezel. The time setting works fine, it appears. Yeah, and this watch also has a hacking mechanism, which means that if you pull the crown out and the watch stops, basically the balance stops, so that you can precisely set the time, even to the seconds. But here, the problem is that it's not running and I cannot even take the bezel out. So I use this, try to use this glass remover in order to grab the bezel and pull it out, but it wasn't working well because part of the bezel is obstructed by sort of this protruding case design, so not all sides were of the bezel was accessible. So I actually modified the glass remover. It still didn't work, it didn't have enough grip. And so I sort of considered buying this new bezel remover, which has this 4 sort of blades that would work for most bezels, but as you can see here, some part of the bezel side of the bezel is not accessible. So I decided to buy this actually case opener, which just has one point of access. Like so. I would tighten it and then you could wiggle it a little bit here in order to loosen the bezel, and it worked quite well. As you can see now, I am able to take the bezel out. But here I have actually inadvertently scratched the case a little bit, so I actually advise you to mask the point where this metal part touches the case. There's so much dirt on it, and yeah, as you can see, the glass is sitting on top of this rim. It's not really pressure fitted, usually like other watches, on the outer ring. So I couldn't use a glass remover. I just also had to use this tool, which came quite handy, just to push the glass out of that rim, which was sitting on top of it. Now I am removing the hands, and I figure that there are no looms on the hands, and I wonder what happened there. Maybe it was removed intentionally by the previous watchmaker. I'm not so sure, but I will relume the hands so it can glow in the dark. So there is this little button I can press, and then the crown comes out. And the next challenge was to figure out how to remove the movement out of the case. And like some Rolex, you actually have to turn the movement to take it out. Here I actually removed the dial, and this is not how you're supposed to do. you're actually just supposed to turn the entire movement and take the movement out of the case first, and then you can remove the dial. But I just forced to remove the dial first because I didn't really know how this works in the beginning. And now I will start to disassemble the watch. The balance seems to be okay, in a good condition, although it might needs to be cleaned a little bit later. And you can see there is power stored in the watch. As you can see, the pallet fork moving left and right. But I couldn't figure out, there's this little ratchet lever. It's supposed to probably hold the ratchet, but even unscrewing that, I couldn't figure out how to unwind the watch. So I just decided to disassemble the bridge, which was a horrible idea, and you should never do this. I mean, this is not how to video. This is not what not to do video in a way. So you'll see here, if you don't unwind, this happens. Small implosion and parts are flying everywhere. Now I'm dumbfounded, but yeah, I should know better. I mean, I have done this in other some of my other videos here on this channel, so I got impatient and yeah, the parts flew off and I did like half of the disassembling basically there. But the parts are not damaged, thankfully. So I think I'm okay. Here I have removed a gear that also has a ruby or a jewel inside, which was sort of a nice feature, I thought, of a higher end sort of movement. Yeah, so here it is, pallet fork bridge. The pallet fork also doesn't really look the usual. Almost looks like a Ricoh automatic watch pallet fork that I have actually repaired previously. So, okay, so this is the front part of the movement, which houses a date mechanism as well as keyless works. Yeah, I mean, you can notice the design is quite different from that of Seiko 5 movement that I did previously, because the goal of this movement was to obviously to make a movement that's reliable in timekeeping, but also to make it thinner profile. So you can see some of the design decisions here. Producing the parts, they're in a way sort of sandwiched together, and yeah, I don't exactly know, but I can see that is quite different from other Seiko movements that I've worked on before. Okay, so yeah, this is part of the 5-6 series, which was also used by King Seikos, which is a higher end Seiko series. Lord-Matic is below that. Actually, it's not as premium as King Seiko, or definitely not as premium as Grand Seiko. But yeah, it was in between model between Seiko 5 and King Seiko. But I was interested in this watch because of the movement. I was just curious how it was designed and built, and now I am pre-cleaning the parts. And yeah, I recently bought this rubber tip stick from Aliexpress, and this brush also from Aliexpress for a few bucks basically, and they are wonderful to hold the parts and to clean the parts. I think it was a very good decision to buy the tools. I'll leave the links in the description. Okay, the next is to clean the barrel like so, to remove very old, actually tough old residue. There's quite a lot of it inside. And to clean also the lid. And I will clean also the mainspring itself using lint-free paper and some alcohol. And I will load all the parts, and this time I will first clean it in the ultrasonic cleaner because it seems like the watch has not been serviced for many decades, so I wanted to thoroughly clean. And I have already preheated the watch cleaning solution with this coffee mug warmer. Actually, it works quite well for my setup. It heats up the solution to about 60 degrees, which is safe in most cases. So now I am removing the parts that are already cleaned. Yeah, so here is the grease, Mobius 8217. It can be used as a braking grease for automatic watch barrels. I have read that 8217 is suitable for brass barrel types, but if you are going to service a very expensive watch, luxury watch with stainless steel barrel, then you will need a different braking grease called Kluba P125. And here my mainspring winder did not really fit, so I actually had to improvise using the original arbor in order to wind the spring back into the barrel. Unfortunately, there isn't a single winder that fits all mainsprings because there's so many types of mainsprings, so many types of arbors with different widths and so forth. Now I'm just pressing it back in. And yeah, that worked out. Now I place the lid on top in order to close it with a lid closing tool. And I always inspect whether the lid is closed all the way and is flush. It seems like it's okay. Put a little bit of oil there. And now I can start assembling the movement. Yeah, so as you saw, the parts flew off everywhere, so I couldn't really see where the wheel goes, so I actually had to refer to the technical guide of this movement, which I'll also leave a link in the description. Technical guide, if available, they are useful, and many Seiko movements, even vintage movements, you can find technical guide for those movements. Now I'm tapping a little bit to align and basically to help the pivots of the gear to slip into the holes or jewels, and it has worked well and engaged. And now I am screwing the ratchet wheel and turning the mainspring to see is engaging very well. And now here we have these jewel types, which I've never actually worked with before. And I figured that my tweezer tip was way too dull and blunt, so I have filed using a sandpaper to make it nice and sharp so I can have better control. here it is. The jewel kit came out, and there's noticeable probably rust, and it's also part of the oil residue, and this needs to be cleaned up with alcohol and Rodico. And I put a little bit of oil there, medium viscosity oil, because it's not the escapement wheel. This one is actually for escapement wheel, so I will put just a little bit of low viscosity oil and then test. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Next is to mix some Lume material, the material that glows in the dark, for the hands, because the hands didn't have any Lume on it. So I sort of don't like this bathroom white look, so I added a little bit of light green color into it to make it slightly tinted. And I place the hands, the holder, and I would just slide across like so in order to apply the Lume. It's finished. I just have to let it sit for a few hours, and I'm checking with a UV light whether it glows in the dark, and it is. So it seems like it's a success. So I continue to work on now the front side of the movement. You notice there are some design choices to help to make this movement a slim profile. So you can see some areas is different from Seiko 5 movements. Keyless Works is engaging. It seems to work. I put a little bit of grease there where there is high friction. Yeah, so I usually take photos as I disassemble, and I also make videos of the disassembly part so I can get back to it in order to understand, or in order to figure out which part goes where. Without it, to be honest, I wouldn't actually know. Even looking at the technical guide, it would be very confusing, so taking photographs definitely helps. Usually when you oil, less is more, and thankfully a lot of the viewers on my channel have pointed out that I put way too much oil everywhere and even on the gear teeth, and you're not supposed to actually do that. So I've learned from you all. Thank you so much for leaving a comment below. Yeah, I really appreciate your input, and that really helps me to improve my skills and to understand and learn new information about watchmaking. And yeah, I really appreciate you for leaving a comment. So thank you. So unlike the other watches, the Canon pin doesn't click in. Rather, it slides in and engages the hour wheel that is spring-loaded. So you have to wiggle it a little bit to fit the parts in place. The date wheel seems to be engaging. Okay. And now I will clean the balance. And you can see there is a lot of debris. It definitely needs to be cleaned. And here on the pallet fork, you can see the shellac. Actually, that's not dirt. This is actually a glue that holds the pallet fork and pallet stone together. And that's precisely the reason why I don't clean the pallet fork in the ultrasonic cleaner or in alcohol, but in lighter fluid, which does not dissolve the shellac on the stones. And further cleaning the stones with Rodico, and here is the balance that has been cleaned, and it looks a lot cleaner than before, so I think it's ready to be installed. So the next step would be to wind the mainspring, but unlike other hand-wound watches, you cannot wind the mainspring with the crown, so I have to turn the ratchet wheel like so in order to wind the mainspring, and it's working very well, I think. And I actually forgot to oil the Inca block on the balance, so, and I still don't know how to unwind the mainspring, so I just took it out as it was running. It's not very ideal, but this time I just did it this way. Slipping back in and putting the lyre spring back in, and nothing bad happened this time. Now it's time to work on the glass, this acrylic glass, which has a lot of scratches on it. I would sand the surface from the coarse grit to finer grit. Progressively, and I would use this scratch remover compound in order to remove fine scratches on the glass. I believe it's similar to poly watch. I mean, I just had this lying around in my garage and it worked perfectly fine, so I've been using this scratch remover compound for watch projects as well. As you can see, it's noticeably better than before. And the case itself also needs to be polished. And there's quite a lot of small scratches, so I'm using this Diashock green compound and a felt wheel to remove scratches. And I want to one day use a lapping machine, which would be a better tool to retain the sharp edges on the case. But I'm thinking about actually building one because I don't have space nor budget to buy a professional lapping machine, which is actually usually quite big. So I'm thinking of making a small one using a motor and probably Arduino board in the future. So here I have just masked the parts of the case, and now I am brushing with the Mirka 1500 grit brushing pad. I just want the brushing to be in the middle part of this case, and it seems like it has worked quite well. Yeah, here it is, and finally the watch is running, and I'm testing it on a Timegrapher, and the result is amazing. Actually, it's only probably 2 seconds a day off, and bit error is also low enough, 0.5 millisecond, which means watch is running very well and very accurately. This is the automatic rotor weight, which turns as you move, as you wear the watch and move around, and this will turn, and as a result, as you can see, the ratchet wheel is slowly moving, and it's basically charging the mainspring, the power source. So I remove some dust on the dial using Rodico, and I also want to put a little bit of silicone grease on the crown tube, and this will prevent the water to ingress into the case. And now I'm applying a little bit of force from above to install the hour hand. And the minute hand. And the second hand goes in. Just to tap it slightly, you don't need to really force it. And as I push it, the hacking mechanism disengages and the watch starts to tick. Okay, the glass sits on top of the rim, so you just slightly press it, and then this bezel ring goes in, and as I thought everything was done and finished, all I have to do is just to put the watch strap on, but I found out something very odd here. The holes were blocked. So yeah, I didn't see this before. So I normally just use a Rodico like this and just pops right out. Actually, it just usually comes out in the ultrasonic cleaning process, but the stuck pin here is not coming out. And as you can see, it's like nice and flush to the surface of this lug surface, which means it's completely rusted and bonded inside of this hole. So I have applied some rust removal solution and waited for a day or two. It still didn't do anything except to remove some rust on the surface, but it didn't penetrate. So at last, on the third day, I decided to drill it out a little bit. I had to be careful not to damage the case, as you can see, but it still wouldn't budge. So I just kept drilling and using my screwdriver to remove the rust like this. And I did about 5 times like this for each hole. This is the original hole on the other side, which seems fine, and this is the one that I had to drill out. So I finally actually got to the point where I could, where it's usable. I put the pin here, and as you can see, now it's working. And this actually took me 3 days, and it took longer than servicing the watch. There's 2 holes. So here it is. It's finished finally. And I really like how it came out, and also I'm now measuring to compare with my other Seiko watch that I've repaired on this channel before. On the right side is the Lord-Matic. It's slightly thinner, as you can see. It's quite noticeable. And the finish of the case and the dial also appears to be a bit more premium. So here's the finished Seiko Lord-Matic 25 joules watch. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really enjoyed this restoration. Especially I really enjoyed servicing the movement. It was a new movement for me, and I really appreciate the craftsmanship of this movement. Please leave a like and sub if you haven't done so. It really helps me to grow the channel. Thank you, and see you in the next one.